Hi, how's it going? My name is Liam, and today I have a pick a pile card reading. Sorry, I've been MIA for a bit. Um, yeah, it's been a crazy month, crazy time. I had a couple family members pass away, and then yeah, so it's been a little bit rough. And then Mercury retrograde and the eclipse season, and there was a lot of heaviness and doubt, and it felt like my intuition was offline for a little while. But I'm feeling a little bit better today. Yeah, I look a little bit different. I shaved. Not sure how I feel about that. And also, I'm trying to grow my hair out, so it's kind of in an awkward stage. So, hence the headband. So yeah, hopefully you'll have a little bit of patience with me today while I get back to it. So yeah, we have 3 piles today. So we have just classic Waite deck. The image for that is, or the, what I want to call it, the token for that is just a little stick. And then this one is a new deck that I haven't read with too much. Honestly, I've been getting back into reading tarot, but I kind of took the month off with everything that was going on. So this is Pamela Love's, what's the name? The Infinite Door deck, and that is a white feather. And then we have our Modern Witch deck, and that is this stone. It's like kind of beige brown, white ish. Yeah, so we have that as well. And then I'm also going to be using this spirit animal oracle as like an advice card at the end of each reading. So there we have that. All right, let's get into it. Sorry, I'm trying to write down timestamps. Yeah, it has been a weird time. I mean, I think that's kind of reflective, or not reflective. I think that has been the case for a lot of people. I think it was winter, and then where I live, at least, we have jumped right into summer. There's been a heat wave, so it's been like 95 Fahrenheit, which is insane. So we've been swimming, which is weird, in March, and that's nice. And yeah, I think there's just been a lot of heaviness, and I think there's probably more to come in some ways, but I feel like the heaviness as of late, there was a lot of like internal, for me anyways, it was a lot of like internal like mind, like just like looping on things and kind of like not being able to get out of my head. Well, no, that's too many cards. Not being able to get out of my head a little bit. And then, yeah, just like this kind of like stuck energy that I couldn't really move through. Kind of like trying to like run in a dream sort of sensation. So it's been interesting. I am feeling a little bit better since it's been this spring equinox and Mercury stationed direct. Whoa, all these cards. And So I've been feeling a little bit better that way. Interesting. And, okay. What was I saying? Sorry, I'm not finishing any thoughts. Anyway, so I've been feeling a little bit better since the equinox, and then with just things kind of have felt like they're moving a little bit more, which has been nice. So hopefully you also, if you've been feeling this stuck energy, hopefully you're starting to like move out of it a little bit as well, with these shifts, and then coming into April soon in the next 10 days or so. And then hopefully, yeah, you've been feeling good with spring, and maybe you've gotten a little warm up where you live and been able to appreciate the sounds of the birds returning and flowers blooming and all that jazz. So I hope you've been able to experience that. All right, so our pile 1 group. What we have here is our 5 of Cups, our 3 of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, 5 of Wands, and then our Emperor. This is feeling like maybe there's some shame, maybe there's some despair, there could be some grief for you. Sometimes this card for me feels like you're looking at all the things that are wrong. You know, I know that's not traditionally how it's read, but sometimes for me it feels like, yeah, you're looking at all the things that are going wrong, and there are some things you could be looking at that are going right. So I don't necessarily think it's like you have to be optimistic all the time, or you always have to have hope or see whatever. I think part of it is when you allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to feel these feelings of despair, but also allow yourself to move on when it's time to move on, and don't stay sitting in that for forever. Maybe this is a reading for me. And then we have our 3 of Pentacles. And this card is about like pursuing something, right? So being in devotion to something. I think it could very much be like getting back to, so if in this kind of like dark winter period, you've kind of been just surviving. I think the 3 of Pentacles is asking you to show up and participate in your craft again, like whatever that may be, whether that's making music or ceramics, or it could be you know, like building a business. I think like whatever thing you find yourself in devotion to, that you're doing just for the sake of pursuing it, I think you need to return to those things. I think now is like the time for you to like, there's not going to be as much resistance, you know, and it would be a good idea for you to return to these things that you're pursuing just for the sake of pursuing them, you know, things that you truly enjoy doing, hobbies, and continue that practice of a creative outlet and betterment, and yeah, way to express yourself. And then we have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is a card I pull all the time, and I feel like it's asking to, for me personally, in my like daily card pull. So I think like this deck likes to be like, hey, I think you're not quite getting this, so let's see what we have here. I think with the Queen of Swords, we're being asked to not be so rigid in our plans, in our schedule, in our, I don't want to say schedules, in our plans, right? I think that this pile for those that it's resonating with. You have a tendency to be very like plan-based, like this thing needs to happen and this thing needs to happen and this thing needs to happen, and then I can do this, right? I can start doing this thing after all these things, other things happened. And I think the Queen of Swords here in this reading is asking you, what does it look like when you act and trust the knowledge and the intellect and trust the experience you've gained up until now, and just move forward with the thing before all these other things have fallen into a place. So I think, yeah, here this is asking us to spread our ideas, and especially with this Five of Wands card here as well, which feels very much like a little bit like too many cooks in the kitchen, or like a group project that's maybe going off the rails a little bit because there's so many ideas. I think there's like something to be said about with this Queen of Swords is putting yourself out there, putting your ideas forward, and acknowledging or letting there be other things that you're competing with, not in like this like intense way not in this intense way where you're actually like fighting with people, but more so like you're allowed to do something similar to someone, and it will be different because it's your expression of the thing. So if that's like starting a business, or if that's like, I think it could come into this creativity. You're allowed to do something that kind of like maybe looks slightly similar to what someone else is doing, but it's different because it's you pursuing it, and you with all the past experiences you have and all the knowledge you've gained over the course of your life. And showing up as this Queen of Swords who is confident in their abilities to move forward with their wisdom, I think that whether or not there's 10 other people doing the same thing as you're able to stand out. And in the end, with the Emperor, you'll be successful, Yeah, I feel like that's a solid reading. You are in this you've been in this part, and now you're moving into this other part. So yeah, no need to fret. It is all according to plan. All right, let's see what your animal advice card is. This desk is full of things, and I also have a candle, so you have to be aware of that. The cards. You can get an advice card for pile 1. You can get an advice card for pile 1s. Okay, sorry, this one turned over. The dog spirit. Be loyal to what you love. It's number 19. I'm just gonna look at the little book real fast to see if there's anything extra with this card. Dog spirits appear to remind you that although change is a part of life and all of us are meant to evolve, our love and commitments remain strong. You are loved now and can trust that this higher love is true. Spirit loves you, and love has arrived in many forms now, manifesting in people you surround yourself with, expressed uniquely through them. Dog Spirit also says to be true to that which you love, for now is a time of good fortune. Be steady as you recognize that people and things are always transforming. Your heart is loving and true. And Dog Spirit wants you to know that your steadfast commitments to experiencing and expressing love will attract and manifest more love. You deserve all of it. Have faith in Spirit's plan for you. So cool. That's great. And that's maybe a little synchronicity for you, this cute little doggy. 19. Cool. This is not a brand new deck for me, the Spirit one, but I don't look at it that often, so that's why I'm going to reference the book for you today. Alrighty, let's move on to our next one. Pile 2 was, hold on a second, I don't know why I'm putting this away. Usually I just set it off to the side, but I am putting it away. Okay, this is our feather. This is our Infinite Doors deck by Pamela Love with art by Chris Maneki. This one's also a little bit hard to shuffle because it's bigger. I generally try and find, well, lately I've been trying to find decks that are like playing card size, so that they're easier to shuffle. What do we have for pile number 2 today? Pile number 2. I also, for some reason, I noticed that I've been naming all of these pick a card readings, when in fact I should have been calling them pick a pile readings because I'm doing piles. I was trying to see though, I didn't look up to see what other tarot readers on YouTube, if they say card or pile. But obviously it's a pile. So that's a funny thing I've realized that I've been doing. Alright, any more cards for our pile number 2 today? We got 5 from the last. Is there any more? This one? Okay. Alright. Oh, that's a lot. Well, there was already 5, so not this one. Okay. I'll tell you what this card is just in case, but I don't think it's part of this. Interesting. Maybe I didn't shuffle enough. No, I think I have. I'm only saying that because there's King of Cups and Queen of Cups right next to each other. So we got the King of Cups, Queen of Cups, Strength, the Moon. It's a cool card. And the Chariot. And then this one may or may not be included, the Magician. I think maybe that's only for some of you. Or, I think it's for all of you. Let's make that decision for us. Okay, I have a little drink of my coffee. Okay. King and Queen of Cups. So I think that there is a emotional experience happening here for you, but it's one that you are navigating well. There's also for some reason it's making me feel like you're dealing with maybe something with your parents. That's not usually what comes up for me with the King and Queen of Cups, but with them paired like this and in this deck, and like I said, I haven't used a sex read for anyone yet, so we're sorting through it. Yeah, it's feeling like parental figures. This could be actual parents. It could be like your inner voice, your internal experience of what you think your parents were like, meaning my example of that is sometimes I like hear my mom's voice in my head saying something, but I know that it's like a very warped version of her, like through the lens of like teenage me who got upset about everything, rightly so, because that's what happens when you're a teenager and how your brain is functioning, for me anyways. um, so yeah, it sort of is feeling a little bit like, yeah, a parent situation, and kind of quite stern, maybe like a dad who maybe didn't show up, who wasn't the most present, um, and then a mom who was like a little bit intense, like she looks pretty, her face is very like focused, I'll say. Um, yeah, so it feels like you're navigating this issue with your parents. And like I said, it could be like your actual parents, or it could be like reparenting yourself, right? I think when, especially when you have kids, you kind of like for me, I have a toddler, and so much of parenting him is like realizing the ways I was parented and things maybe that I want to do differently or things that I want to do the same. And so there's kind of like this reparenting thing going on a little bit. So it could be that as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be like your actual physical parents, but it definitely could be. And the cards are telling us the way to navigate this is with strength, the moon. It's so funny when you get a reading like the one before where it's just like, oh, okay, this is making sense and this is flowing. This is like everything. And then this one is not coming out as easily. So I'm just acknowledging that. I think the moon here, the moon can be things that we're hiding, things that are in the dark, things that we are keeping secret. It can also be intuition. It could be like, this is funny. This, you probably can't see it, but this, for some reason, to me, this little element right there was looking like the little stopper thing they put in the Starbucks cups. So that could be a synchronicity for one of you. That's kind of funny. Yeah, so here the moon is definitely feeling like hiding away, right? Like this person is on stilts in front of the moon, and their face is the moonlight, right? And otherwise they're in shadow. So it feels like a little bit of secret keeping, maybe, right? Maybe not looking. Maybe there's a little bit of blame going on, some fault. You're saying like the reason all these things that are happening in my life is because of how I was parented, is because of this dynamic between these two. And I'm playing out those same scenarios with my children, with my partner. And it's sort of taking over a little bit for you. And I think the thing that can happen is when you get so wrapped up in whose fault things are, you don't ever move forward, right? At a certain point, your decisions and your choices are your responsibility. And yeah, you have to take responsibility for those things, right? And I think when you can come out of the shadows and you can own your part in things, in your current things, not the things that happened to you when you were a kid, when you can own your part in the current dynamic that you're playing out with your children or a spouse, when you can sort of shine a light, when you can just take ownership of, I want to say, these patterns, and it doesn't even necessarily like, for me personally, like I find myself, toddlers do things that are developmentally appropriate, but that doesn't necessarily mean like that it's the most enjoyable thing to experience. And I feel myself a lot of times getting like getting upset or angry or losing patience, and there's an awareness at this point. I have an awareness of, oh, like I'm doing this thing, and I can choose to stop doing the thing. I can choose to stop getting upset about this. I can choose to take some deep breaths and calm myself down. I can choose to walk away. I can choose to just acknowledge that, like, he's a little kid and he's doing things that he's exploring and trying to figure things out. And just because he spills milk on the floor doesn't mean my parent is going to come get mad at me and I'm going to get in trouble for making a mess. It just means that he accidentally spilled milk on the floor and it's not a big deal. So I think a lot of it is pulling these things out of the shadows and having an awareness of them. And that's the first step, is being aware that it's happening. The first step is saying like, oh, I'm flying off the handle when this happens. Maybe because I got in trouble for it when I was a little kid, or because I think that if my house isn't clean, then that means whatever. And I need to let those things go, or I need to acknowledge them instead of lashing out at my family members, So I think that's your starting point, right? Is just having an awareness, bringing these things from the shadows into the light. And then I think that moves you. And it takes strength, right? It's going to take some courage. It's going to take some time, and it's going to take a willingness to acknowledge where you've been wrong, and you have to take that responsibility on for yourself. It's not anyone else's fault anymore. And fault's not even helpful. It's not your fault either. What's helpful is to have an awareness of what has happened and allow that to change your behavior moving forward instead of playing the blame game. And then, I feel like just having that awareness moves through you. And we meet the chariot here now. And that moves you towards through to the magician. So a lot of this feeling stuck, a lot of this stuckness you're having, when you sort through that, when you bring your awareness to it, when you let go of blame and fault, you move in this really cool position, right? You're moving towards your manifestations. You're moving towards your true heart's desires. You're moving towards the life you want at a quick speed, just by way of bringing these things in from the shadows and having an awareness of them. And that doesn't mean you're perfect every time. That doesn't mean you never get mad at your kid. That doesn't mean you never get frustrated with your spouse or your parents or what have you. It just means that you have a greater awareness of these patterns that you keep existing in. And by having that greater awareness of them, you potentially move through them and you create new patterns that are maybe a little bit more helpful for you in this moment. Cool. So that is that. Hopefully that's helpful for some of you. Let's see what our advice card is. See, these ones are bigger too, so they're hard to shuffle. I need to figure out a method for shuffling. Let me try it. Every single time I do one of these, my nose gets runny. It wasn't runny beforehand. pop out, we'll just pull it from the top. Oop. Okay, we just need one. Just one. Okay. All right. Swan Spirit. Time for a deep dive. Number 60. 60? Yeah, 60. Okay, cool. Let me just read the little booklet for you, because that's what I'm doing today. That's funny. It's funny that I'm doing that. With their graceful long necks, swans are able to reach into the depths. When Swan Spirit arrives, you are called to take a deep dive beyond what is easily available on the surface. You may think you know what's best for you now, but take the plunge into the depths of your awareness, for there is knowledge you are not aware of and great treasures to discover. Deeper understanding awaits you, and a perspective that comes from greater self-knowledge is what you need right now to better understand a situation or a relationship. As you come to know yourself more intimately, so too will you come to better know others. So Swan Spirit asks you to go beyond the surface of what is happening between you and others and resist the temptation to judge by superficial appearances. Know there is much deeper potential for loving connections, forgiveness, and mutual understanding. Choose to deep dive into your why, asking the deeper questions of yourself. You are led by the grace of the Swan Spirit. Cool. All right, pile 2. Well, I'm also going to put these ones away. I did that with the other one. That's funny. Alrighty. Our pile 3, our last and final pile, is our Modern Witch deck, which was this little stone. Alright. Let's get into it. What else can I talk about while I'm waiting? No, I don't think so. Too many cards at once. There we go. Energy for pile 3. Can we get a reading for pile 3? Any messages for them? Alright, that's 5 cards. Any more? Any more cards? Sometimes I'm like... the light's just weird. I'm like seeing something on the back of these. Alright, I think that is it. Oh, one more. Okay. Oh gosh, there's way more cards than I thought it was. Okay. Let's see. There's a lot going on here. Okay. 7 cards. I thought something that came out, there's only 1 and there's 3. No, I thought there was 2 and there's 3. So first we got our death card. Ace of Wands. 4 of Cups. Temperance. 7 of Cups. 3 of Wands. And a 4 of Pentacles. There's 2 4s, if that means anything for anybody. There's a lot of cards that popped out. So we have the Death card first, followed right by an Ace of Wands. Which feels very much like endings and beginnings. I think you are closing out a cycle, which has kind of been the case with all of them. There's a little bit of like, which is probably just the time of year with the spring equinox. So there's a lot of closing out of the winter chapter. It also was the astrological new year. So yeah, I think we're shutting the door on a lot of things at the moment. And so starting with the Death card, followed right by the Ace of Wands, is telling me that you're ending a chapter, and the rest of these cards very much feel like you're beginning something, but you're sort of like, what the hell am I beginning? So there feels like there's a little bit of confusion here, especially with the 7 of Cups. This 4 of Cups is interesting too. This 4 of Cups, here's a hoodie, says over it. And then this is like kind of like how the Ace usually looks. And so it feels a little bit like it's like this new beginning, but it's like kind of like it doesn't feel like a clear new beginning, right? I think the Ace of Wands feels potent too, because we are moving into, or we have moved into Aries, which is a fire sign. And so is Wands. So if it sort of feels, it's feeling like there's some direction here. There's some like energy to begin, some energy to start. You're having this fire energy, this death energy, and so the death, that you're like, the door is closed, here's this new one open, I'm ready to go. But then it's like, what the fuck do I do? Like you got the 7 of Cups, which is like, I don't always read it as confusion, but it's feeling like confusion here. The 4 of Cups. Let's start there. I'm trying to figure out what that's asking of you, pile 3. Especially with Temperance. Okay. This is frustrating as like all hell, but like you're asked for a little bit of patience. I know that you feel like you're like, let's get the ball rolling, let's do this, let's get into it, let's whatever. But there's still some things that need to change. There's still some things that need to grow. There's still a little bit of stuckness, maybe, is what I want to say. There's a little bit of like, Um, huh. What is this asking of you? It's asking you to be patient. This Four of Cups is telling you that I think it's like you think you know what you want and you think you know what this new beginning is, but there's all these other possibilities and you're just now looking at all these other possibilities. And so there's a tendency to want to jump in, but I think you need to spend a little bit of time cleaning, literally and figuratively, cleaning house, removing, shedding. It feels a little bit like the door on this is not completely closed. Like it's done, you're not going back there, but you haven't completed the necessary shedding to move you into the end of this reading. So you need to kind of let these things close out. I don't think there's necessarily any specific action needed of you, other than I think it happens either way, right? Like even if you're sitting there and you're like over it, like she is, like a lot of us are, like I kind of am in this moment, not in this moment, in this with my life things happening. Even though there is some of this, like I'm over it, those things are still going to close out, right? I think you can help them along by, literally doing clearing out, spring cleaning, getting rid of the old, getting old stuff out of your house, out of your space, deleting apps off your phone you no longer use, removing, you can do like digital clearing, so removing old photos, old contacts, old shit from your email. I don't know why I'm swearing so much in this reading. And then also physically cleaning your space, donating things, upcycling them, making something new out of something old. I think that could be a good place to start, to allow kind of these things to move forward, and then you are gonna have to have some patience, and there is a little bit of confusion here, and there are choices you need to make, but it doesn't feel like there's a wrong choice. It feels like the thing to do, the necessary choice, is just to start. And then once you just act, you'll start to have a little bit more clarity on what choices are the best ones to be taking. And I think, maybe actually with this Seven of Cups, that's kind of leading us into these other two cards, which is this Three of Wands always feels like kind of like the start of a journey. Not necessarily this. No, not the start. It feels like you've started the journey. You've crossed this river. You've left your hometown. You've done the challenging thing. You've started at least to do the challenging thing, and now you're looking back at where you've come, and you're honoring where you've been, which feels true with the rest of these cards here. So you've moved through the frustration of the Four of Cups. You've cleared things out. You've been patient. You've taken steps, and now you're allowing yourself to recognize that you've come a long way, and you can be proud of that. Really, like you can be proud. The way forward is not necessarily clear, but you are making progress towards that, and yeah, it feels like there's some clarity here. Um, and you're looking back just for a moment, and then you'll continue on your way. You're not staying looking back, which is the important part. And then we have our Four of Pentacles, which they can feel a little bit like, in some decks it feels like holding on too tightly. With her though, she doesn't feel like doesn't necessarily feel like she's holding on too tightly. It sort of feels like she's recognizing where she is, and she's recognizing, she's recognizing this movement, right? And it sort of feels like she's in a new city, and there's a lot of different things happening. So there's a little bit of a tendency to cling to what you know, what you have. And I think these cards together is urging you to move forward once you get to this place. But it also feels like that's kind of a long ways away. This might be happening more towards like the beginning of summer. You kind of have these other things to navigate. Pile 3 might be worth coming back to this. And this is a timeless reading, so whenever it lands for you, I would say if it doesn't land for you right with the spring equinox, Mercury retrograde energies, it could be like moving from summer to fall or what have you. Whenever it connects for you. So yeah, it feels like there's a long road ahead. And it feels important, especially with this Temperance here, to find joy along the way where you can, right? You can be upset about it. You can be in this position where you're like, why me? Why why aren't things moving forward faster? But things are going to take the time they're going to take. And sometimes there's a reason it's not happening exactly the way you planned for it to happen. Maybe there's a greater reason there why there's a delay of some kind. And it can help to just trust that and allow it to be. Even, trust me, I get that that's difficult. But I think sometimes it's easier to, sometimes it feels easier to just bitch and moan about it, but it tends to feel better and the time moves faster if you find ways to enjoy the process, right? It's about the journey, not the destination. So there is that. Let me do a advice card. Gosh, that's when you know the situation. Can we get an advice card for our pile number 3? Maybe. No, it'll come. Let's see. Brown Bear Spirit. Take time out. It's a 9. 9 card. There is a time to act and time to focus your attention on patient strategizing. The arrival of Brown Bear Spirit signals that you are best served by foregoing hard work towards your goals at this moment and instead taking the time out to meditate. Or just take a nap so you can refresh yourself and begin planning what you want to co-create next. Come to know the lay of the land as you contemplate and imagine what you might do in this vast space of possibility before you. And begin forming a plan. Remember, sleep allows for dreaming and rest allows for clear-headed strategizing. How might you become the person you wish to be and experience whatever your heart desires? Insights will arise as you explore the possibilities and begin envisioning your plan. Knowing what you want will ensure you use your energy wisely in the days ahead. Be patient at this time, relax and be calm and peaceful so you can recharge. the call for action will come later. That feels very in line with that reading. That's cool. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video. I will have another one out sooner than this one. Sooner than this one. No, I'll have another one out hopefully sooner than the length of time between the last one and this one is what I mean to say. And yeah, happy spring if you're watching this. If you're watching this right when it's released, happy spring. Otherwise, yeah. I have a teacher who always ends calls by saying, enjoy your freedom. And I love that. So enjoy your freedom.